Today, we end the horror. Today, we solve FNAF. Wait, didn't we say this exact same thing 7 years ago? Internet, welcome to Game Theory, the show that reminds you that if you click the like button hard enough, it'll summon DJ Music Man to your neighborhood for a block party. Go ahead, try it. Hit that like button. Didn't work? Have you tried clicking subscribe? I hear that sometimes works too. I guess you must not be clicking hard enough. I don't know what to tell you. Speaking of not working hard enough, aren't you tired of just plain boring merch?
I'm sorry.
That you buy, sure, it looks cool, but it just sits there on your body, not doing anything interesting. Well, what if your merch was actually a puzzle? Introducing the world's first quest jacket. I know what you're thinking.
Oh!
The jacket isn't anything revolutionary, and you'd largely be right, except you'd also be missing one of the most crucial details. Those patches aren't just any old D&D style patches. They're clues to help you solve a much bigger puzzle that exists inside of this thing. It's not just a jacket, it's the world's first ARG jacket. You heard that
That's
right?
awesome. That's actually awesome.
It's not every day that you create like the first of something, but to all my research, I don't think a product like this has ever existed. We've actually
I don't think so either.
years to make something like this happen, working with garment manufacturers to sew secrets into places that they've never even thought about before. Obviously, I don't want to give too much away because part of the fun is letting you guys solve this for yourself, but
I'm not gonna buy it because I can't.
A piece of clothing that you can actually experience. This thing is premium to the max, and if you manage to solve it, you get a special final patch to show that you are truly the puzzle master. So go ahead, head on down to the description and be a part of history.
I'm not. I can't. I'm sorry.
Clothing and
I can't. That's sad.
Series of quest jackets. Roll an investigation check to see if you've got what it takes. Today we finish milking, I mean covering the major mysteries of Security Breach. And you know what? I think I solved it. Or at least I think I've solved most of it. 7 years ago I made this video, The Clue That Solves Five Nights at Freddy's, where we put together all the pieces to support Dream Theory. The concept that the first 4 games of the series were all a collection of nightmares happening inside the mind of a child. In that episode, there were lots of points of evidence, but ultimately the conclusion hinged on one key design detail: the alarm that brought each night to a close at 6:00 a.m. A grandfather clock for 3 games and a digital clock for number 4. 3 games in a child's house where we see a grandfather clock, the 4th in a hospital right before he dies, which ironically enough is the one whose gameplay is happening in a recreation of the house. Ooh, there's a reason this series is so difficult to talk about. Anyway, the reason I bring that video up is because today's theory works largely in the same way. Over the past few FNAF episodes, I've been trying to make heads or tails of Security Breach, pulling at what to me felt like the strongest thread. Gregory as the crying child reborn in a robot body. Him reuniting with his brother Michael in the form of Glamrock Freddy and his sister Elizabeth in the form of Vanessa. And we've covered a lot of evidence trying to support that claim. The character's design, colors, the ice cream, the voice lines, robotic eyes, the satisfying narrative arc that it provides the game's 3-star ending. I mean, it's a lot. There are 2 episodes that are jam-packed full of discussion around exactly this. But today, I finally have my smoking gun. The clue that takes it from just a controversial theory to, at least in my mind, largely proven fact. Just like with the clocks and Dream Theory, it's the one clue that is so specific, so intentional that it confirms that this was the main intent of the game. Until, of course, they decide to retcon it all due to bad audience feedback to keep the franchise going for another 7 years. Sorry guys, I hate to say it, but I think I'm unfortunately right this time. Gregory is a robot, and he's the crying child reborn. And by the end of today, I think you're gonna be convinced. And then from there, we're gonna talk about how all of that.
I mean, I'm already convinced, but you know,
final mystery, patient
kind of convinced.
It all begins
Patient 46.
The Post-it Room.
Huh. What? This is unexpected.
After exploring the sewers to decommission Chica, Gregory winds up here. A room full of glowing staff bot heads and lots of post-it reminders on literally every surface. I mean, this thing is a flashing neon sign that says, "Important lore here."
Yes.
Yet in online discussions, it's been largely overlooked because it's kind of sandwiched in the middle of the game, overshadowed by the animatronic spaghetti monster ending. And even though I knew that something had to be hidden in here, trying to figure it out was like finding a needle in a haystack.
So what is this? What are we looking at here?
I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah? Is it obvious, Matt? What is it?
You get
I mean, it is kinda.
Uh-huh.
And you gotta start taking notes.
Post-it notes?
Yeah, you just leave them around.
Okay.
But also there's robot heads.
So with that incredible insight, I spent literal hours off camera trying to look at every single post-it note to make sure that I had the full picture. And the answer I got was, do not do that. Learn from my mistakes. It took me so long, only to discover that the game files had been dug up and the post-it textures were just there in 3 simple images. Thanks to JustXFOT for uploading these to GitHub. Flush those hours of my life down the toilet. When you study these post-it textures, you actually realize that there are 3 phases to the post-it notes. One that's barely legible, another where the spelling and drawing improve slightly, and the final where they become nearly perfect. It looks like someone is trying to learn how to write and draw, slowly getting better over time. And it all begins here with a note written in binary. When you first enter the room, there's a cardboard box in the middle, which, if I were to guess, is Steel Wool trying to draw our attention to the most important post-it clues in what otherwise is a very crowded and busy-looking room. On it, we get this binary string, which translates to why is I. That's it. The grammar, I think, is intentionally bad because this is a computer coming into consciousness, asking the question, why am I alive? And doing it in binary, the language of machines, computers, robots. Elsewhere in the room is more binary that translates to hide. Whatever this thing is, it's scared and it's confused. It hides until it can better understand what or who it's meant to be. The other illegible phase 1 notes here are random flashing thoughts, the sky, kids, love, random glimpses of memories coming into focus. The phrase, I can feel it, is this creature coming into consciousness. And this right here, you are something family, which looks like Afton.
You are... I see a J, an N, an R, an M, and an N. Maybe. J. That says family, that says you are. Afton. I don't see Afton. I don't. I see the O-N, but I don't see the A-F. Or the T. I don't see Afton. But I think it might be Afton. I don't see Afton. I see, like a J. I don't see an H at all. I mean, an A. And I don't see a T. I see the O-N, possibly, but...
family, but it's pretty unclear. In short, it appears to be a machine that started speaking in binary, but as more and more memories start to take hold, it begins to write in normal alphabetic characters. When you dive into the notes from phases 2 and 3, though,
security guard, Vanessa.
It's mainly images and text revolving around birthday parties, happy place, birthday time, family, a pile of presents, some cake, let's get snack, fun, friends forever, pizza time. Nothing particularly earth-shattering for a series about pizza restaurants. But then there's one post-it in the phase 3 notes that really stands out. The one clue that truly brings together the last 2 months of research. This thing is the linchpin. It's our smoking gun, my friends, and it all boils down to a present alongside 3 simple words, all for me. The party was
interesting.
Does that mean anything to you? Because it certainly does for me. You see, in the FNAF survival logbook, a seemingly innocuous workbook full of pizza-themed activities, you have 3 voices.
I can get that if I really wanted to.
Michael Afton, writing his answers in red pen, the vengeful spirit Cassidy, using lightly faded text, and the crying child, altering the physical.
Oh my god, TikTok, shut the fuck up. But no, I have that book. So it's not spoiled. Dabbing Chica.
Plays out like this. Cassidy says,
good times.
The party was for you, and the crying child responds, it was for me. All for me. Suddenly, all the party imagery makes sense. The balloons, the cake, the kids. This is the bite victim, the crying child, coming into consciousness and remembering the birthday party that took his life.
Why Gregory is the crying child.
Suddenly, everything in these notes takes on a whole new meaning. In the first phase of notes, we see a crudely drawn house with a set of arrows pointing towards what looks to be a strange set of doors. Maybe another building? Which admittedly doesn't make much sense unless this is the crying child, who, in FNAF 4, would walk down and to the right and then back up to go to Freddy's with his brother every single day. In the phase 3 notes, we see this close-up of a bear, which would have been the last thing that the crying child saw before his head got shot.
I'm sorry.
Blue, yellow, green,
was that the bite
and red. Those are the flashing lights above the Fredbear stage as he gets bit. Or, maybe it's the balloons on the nearby table for someone who can't tell the difference between blue
But that's
and purple.
pink.
Even things like hide and
Purple,
no
whatever.
hide relate to the crying child's behavior throughout FNAF 4. He hides under tables, and he is constantly made fun of for it throughout the game. We also see a lot of dialogue about running away, just like on the post-its. Digging deeper, we also start to see other patterns emerging. The number 7 shows up repeatedly as both a set of tally marks as well as a set of 6 faces with a smaller 7th one off to the side. This ties us directly back to FNAF VR, where we had a glitching purple gravestone for Afton in the middle of 7 normal gravestones. 5 missing children, Charlie the puppet, and the smaller face watching on, the crying
7.
child. As he says in other notes, all my friends. There's also repeated use of the number 3. 3 faces, 3 kids, words repeated 3 times like home, 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 and fun, 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 3 slices of pizza, 3 presents, even just counting to the number 3. So what would that mean? Well, think about it. We've seen a lot of references to a house and family throughout these post-its. Seems to me like it's a reference to the 3 Afton kids, Michael,
Oh.
Elizabeth, and the crying child himself. And the thing that brings all of it
Interesting.
together isn't a post-it note, but instead the table higher up in the room where we see the staff bots arranged
Yep.
like a family at dinner. A mother and a father alongside their 3 kids. 1 red-headed pigtailed girl, 1 boy, and a kid with his head bit off. And just to hammer it all home, in the middle of the table, the collectible is a poster for Fredbear's Family Diner.
Family
The
Diner.
place of the bite. The place
Bite.
where all of this began. It looks like the robot finally figured out who he was, and he started to recreate his family. The robot is the crying child,
Yep,
which by
it is.
proxy then has to be Gregory. And if you need further proof of humanoid robots in the game, Illy Becky on Reddit caught this detail from Sister Location. Humanoid heads, ones that look very similar to Gregory's face. Oh, and the last thing, much to
Interesting.
everyone's excitement, there's actually a new book series coming out later this year. A new season of Fazbear Frights called Tales
I
from
still
the
have to get that.
Crypts, obviously referencing the location in Security Breach. The cover of the first book in the new series, Robot Kid. There it is. Which leads us then to the last puzzle of Security Breach, the retro CDs. For those of you
I'm
who
trying to
don't know,
collect
there are
all
16
books,
CDs
all
around the map
FNAF
that you can
books,
only find once you've upgraded
as
Freddy's
much as I
eyes. So
can.
there you
I
take
have
the CDs
11
to a
for the
game designed to look exactly like
Fazbear
most
Frights,
Sister
but I don't
Location.
have like the
These
coloring
CDs seem to
book,
be recordings of
the
therapy sessions
Freddy
from
Files, the
patient
last one. I don't have
71, who
those.
we mentioned last time is clearly Vanessa, and patient 46.
I don't know why it's
who we never
glitching,
get to
though. I don't know
face.
why.
And over the course of the various sessions, 46
Sorry
and
about
71
that.
are set up
It's
to be
not the video, it's
direct
my
opposites
tablet.
of each other. Vanessa likes flowers, patient 46 does not.
Doesn't.
You like those? The janitor on this floor has a garden and has been putting bouquets in the offices here for years. What's the problem? Oh, the flowers? I'll move them.
Vanessa likes blue skies and doesn't like dark basements. 46 prefers it dark.
I like the blue sky. I don't like dark basements. Oh, right. Too bright. When the shade's pulled, it feels like we're in a cubbyhole or a cave, yeah?
Vanessa doesn't like candy. 46 does.
Would you like a candy?
No, thank you. Those have 35 calories apiece.
Sure, you can have a candy.
Clearly, we're meant to see these characters as opposites, which is why so many people online
Candy.
consider that patient
Candy.
46
Sorry,
might
sir.
actually be
Candy. 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 Ready? Ready for this? Candy. Chica. Who wants candy? Gregory. Gregory is a kid. Gregory wants candy. Chica. Who wants candy? Gregory. Do you want candy? Who likes candy? Patient 46. I'm just saying that might be Gregory, because kids like candy. Chica says, who wants candy to a kid? So, kids like candy. And that's all I'm saying.
Vanessa's alter ego possessed by Glitch Trap.
No,
or
I think
even
it's
more
Gregory.
extreme, Vanessa's evil twin sister.
No,
Considering the fire ending shows us a
no,
dead
it's
Vanny on the
Gregory.
ground
It's
and
Gregory,
Vanessa
because
looking
who
down from
wants
the
candy?
building's
Chica
roof.
says who
But
wants
let's
candy
just
to
talk about
Gregory,
those two
and
interpretations.
kids like
First of
Gregory.
all, Vanessa and Vanny are the same person. They have to be. All the evidence leading up to this game in places like FNAF Special
I'm just
Delivery have
convinced
pointed
that-
to a woman named Vanessa A getting mind hacked by Afton and reluctantly following his orders. And in this game, we still have pieces of evidence. For instance, in the CDs, we learned that Vanessa
I'm still
is buying
convinced
fake
that
fur to
patient
make the Vanny costume.
40 whatever is
Right.
Gregory.
It looks like you were shopping for a costume. You purchased some fake fur material. What are you gonna make?
If she's not the one wearing it, why would she be making it? To me, the fire ending here is meant to be symbolic. We haven't beaten Princess Quest yet, so Vanessa's spirit is still trapped inside that burning building, but her body has died. She is one person. But could the persona of Vanny actually be
Her
Patient
persona,
46?
you
Again,
mean?
the evidence just doesn't seem to add up to that. Throughout
It's
their sessions, we get
Gregory,
multiple
okay?
indications that
It
the
might be
therapist is
Gregory.
speaking to
I'm
a
convinced
child.
that
The
it's
way they speak to
Gregory.
Patient 46 here,
I'm convinced it's Gregory.
Do you? I could be put in the corner for
Fair point. I have a fair point.
Yeah,
It's
you
Gregory.
think
It's
that's
probably
funny, huh?
and again here,
Tragedy always leads to a feeling of loss. It's a hole that feels funny, right?
the way they explain simple words,
And I'm surprised by your knowledge of computers. You're something of a phenom. Do you know what that word means? It means you have unusual skills.
Skills like a
the way
hacker.
they point out that
Hacker.
46 doesn't fit into the
Hacker.
chair.
That chair doesn't really fit you, does it?
They even mention the fact that they specifically work with children.
You know, I work with people of all ages.
Gregory.
From
Gregory.
little kids to the very elderly.
I
Gregory.
understand that therapists would want to treat alters as they see themselves, but this just doesn't seem to fit. At no point do we get an indication that Vanny sees herself as a child. But now let's go back to what we assume we know about 46. They're a kid, they like the dark, they like candy, they're really good with computers. In fact, they're a bit robotic themselves, answering questions in cold, detached ways.
When I read your
Gregory.
account of what happened, it came across as, well, more of an objective rather than a subjective narrative. Oh, sorry. You don't know what that means, do you?
Here again, we get another example of the therapist having to explain a relatively simple word. Now, look at our post-it room. It's a dark cave underground,
Gregory.
outright labeled as "This is my home."
I called
On the
it
central
before you, Matt
cardboard
Pat.
box is a drawing of candy. And a robot would be emotionally detached and would also be great at hacking. Heck, the therapist does tell patient 46 to write down their feelings.
I suggested you write down exactly what made you so sad and scared.
And if this room isn't an example of that, I don't know what is. Taking it one step further, if I'm right in saying that Gregory is indeed the robot that came into consciousness here, that's why he doesn't fit into the chair. He's a kid. That's also the reason Steel Wool couldn't let us hear 46's voice throughout these therapist tapes. It would give away the game. It would immediately take away the mystery of who 46 is since we hear Gregory talk so much. But why would Gregory, a robot kid hiding out in the Pizzaplex, actively be seeking out therapy? He's not in a school of any kind and he's not employed, so it wouldn't be mandated. What is going on here?
True.
Well, over the course of the 16 CDs, we listen as both
But I'm still
patient
convinced it's
46 and
Gregory.
Vanessa visit a total of 5 therapists, all of whom are implied to have been mangled to death by machinery. But the deaths here aren't arbitrary. If you track the tapes, each therapist ends up getting killed off immediately after they start asking Vanessa about encrypted messages that she's been receiving from a mysterious figure.
Your performance reviews are good. But a routine check of your online history has revealed that you spent quite a bit of time with someone in an encrypted conversation. We have transcripts, and I've read them.
Dead the next session.
The messages you're getting seem very manipulative in nature. You know who I'm talking about. Why won't you open up about it? These files are full of details about your life.
Again, dead the next session. When the encrypted messages get brought up to 46, same thing.
When I saw some of your recent encrypted conversation logs, at first, I thought I was looking at more examples of you just talking with yourself. Then I realized it was different. When I
Dead.
study this,
The next day.
it sounds like there is someone else responding to you.
A
Ah,
third
this is-
therapist
this
bites
is-
the
this
dust.
is-
The
this is
therapists cover all
Cuphead
sorts of
show.
topics.
Amazing.
Childhoods,
Would
work
wanna watch
history.
it.
One therapist even confronts patient 46 with all the other dead therapists. Nothing. No response. It's only once the encrypted messages come up that they're suddenly marked for death. We also know that it's 46 doing the killing here. The dead therapists are a complete surprise to Vanessa.
Hi, go ahead. Sit down.
I don't know you. What happened to...
Oh, we'll get to know each other in no time.
But to 46, it's just business as usual.
Why did you lie? Why don't we come back to this another day? You're shaking your head as though that's not going to happen.
He's shaking
Dead.
his head because he knows that now she is also marked for death. To me, all of this screams of 46 keeping tabs on Vanessa. He's going to therapy not for himself, but rather to follow her actions, making sure that she's not saying anything that she shouldn't about these encrypted messages. And when the therapists do get too close to the truth, they're bumped off. We learn in one of the last CDs that patient 46 isn't being manipulated, but is instead the one doing the manipulation.
I don't think you're being manipulated here. I think you're the one doing the manipulating. No comment? Huh?
Putting 2 and 2 together would tell us that patient 46 is the one communicating with Vanessa. He's controlling her life for some reason. In fact, 46 appears to be the reason Vanessa is working at the Pizzaplex in the first place. One odd detail of the in-game messages is that Vanessa was not supposed to get the security job. In the message marked for deletion, we see that Vanessa's lack of security experience gets the interviewer to not recommend her for the job, and yet she's hired anyway, despite, as it says in another message, no prior qualifications. In both messages, we're told that it's an internal reference coming from the top that got her the job. Someone has brought Vanessa here for a specific purpose, and who better than a hacker that's clearly established to be
We're not even done yet.
emails? Patient 46, Gregory. In short, it looks like Gregory is manipulating the situation, determined to get Vanessa to work at the Pizzaplex, following her to all her mandated therapy sessions, and ultimately killing off anyone that gets too close to the truth. I mean, after all, Gregory is not opposed to using a bit of violence to get what he wants.
We have to get these. We could upgrade
Emergency alert? Do I give a fuck? No. No, I
He's
don't
also
give
not
a fuck.
opposed to lying about it.
Please be honest. She fell in some kind of garbage compactor.
Earlier, she fell into some sort of garbage smasher.
Wrong. I was wrong.
Well,
She's still functional.
functional.
But why? Why is he going to all of this effort? Well, combine it with what we saw in the post-it room. There's a family reunion scene. Multiple post-its referring to family. The 3 siblings, their house. Remember what I said earlier? The robot
Dawn,
is coming
whatever,
consciousness
from Fast and
and
Furious,
trying to
family,
reclaim what he
joke,
lost, his
right,
family.
insert it
He
here.
wants the family back together. And so he's doing everything in his power to make that happen. Using his hacking skills, he's managed to break into staff files, so he knows that there's something off about Vanessa. Maybe he even knows that his dad's consciousness is inside of her. He's also got his brother and Freddy and his dad in the basement. The family in this game is truly coming together again, reclaiming what Crying Child
I want some water. I didn't
That's the whole
drink
theory,
water
Dad. There
today.
are definitely no holes or flaws to anything I just said. Don't look any deeper than everything I just told you. Alright, fine. There might be a few itty-bitty holes to all of this explanation. Namely, some of the info that we get from the last 2 CDs. If Patient 46 is Gregory, then why is he glitching the system to make all the animatronics scarier? If he lured Vanessa to the Pizzaplex, then why would he then be avoiding her throughout the game? Why would he be surprised to see Afton in the basement if he's trying to bring the
Boo,
family
I'm back.
together? There's also the mystery of the whole parent story. 46 is said to have good parents.
None of what you said in your file about your parents was true. The truth is, you had great parents. A great childhood. Why did you lie?
But how would records of good parenting exist for
Look
a
at my
robot
bat, he's
who
glitched.
presumably had no parents? Or the Crying Child, whose records presumably would say that he was dead? Or even if you don't believe those theories, if 46 is Gregory and Gregory's just a homeless kid, that doesn't sound like he would have had a great childhood or any sort of home life. But the kicker, the one to me that makes this really difficult to explain, is this email that I had long forgotten about from FNAF AR. Strap in for this one, friends. Hey Ness, I hope things are good. I saw you ordered 3 lifelike human male rubber masks, and I was dying to ask what they're for. Sounds to me like a robot kid is confirmed, but it also sounds to me like Vanessa built it or gave rise to this robot kid. If so, then I ask again, why would Gregory be avoiding her throughout the game? I mean, the best I can come up with
Interesting.
is that somehow Gregory escaped.
True.
He's now convinced that Vanessa is trying to shut him down because of his rogue programming. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but then why would he be luring her to the Pizzaplex? It's like one half of each explanation works, but then when you try to connect it back with like the other half of the theory, they end up contradicting each other, which is really frustrating. There are
my
2
ass
other
hurts.
options. First, the robot kid from the post-it room is entirely brand new, or the second option is it's someone that we never see in the game, Baby. Now, the first option of a brand new character,
Interesting.
I guess. I can't really speculate about that. It could literally go anywhere and solve everything. As for option 2, Baby, just like with Gregory, there are certain things that fit and other things that just don't. Baby, like Gregory, could want to put the family back together. Baby has always wanted to make Daddy proud, so she'd be quite happy to kill off therapists that got too close to the truth, just like we see with 46. And she would willingly spread the Afton virus to make the animatronics scary in order to bring Daddy back. If she's using illusion discs, or
Sorry.
if she acts like she does in the books, then it's possible that she'd be able to take the form of a child and make up a backstory. She's also a character that canonically loves disguises, just like Patient 46.
It reminds you of a mask? Like a disguise? Yeah, I can see that. You like the idea of being disguised? Disguises let you be sort of invisible role, don't they?
There's also a line about the therapist being able to see patient 46's eyes.
That's better. On this side of the desk, I can see your eyes.
And we know that baby's eye color has always been an important detail in the past. But as with Gregory, there are still a number of holes with this line of thinking. Baby/Elizabeth likes flowers. Patient 46 doesn't. We also know Baby hates being in the basement of sister location. So then why, as patient 46, would she prefer to live in a cave rather than blue sky? In short, as I wrap up my overall coverage of Security Breach, I guess I gotta summarize it like this. This game is frustrating from a lore standpoint. Smaller questions like Glamrock Bonnie and Golden Freddy, yeah, those are pretty easy to answer. But when it comes to what this game was actually about, no one theory actually solves it all in a clean way.
Yeah.
There are references to every corner of the FNAF universe in here, but as a result, nothing fits cleanly together to solve everything. There are pieces that always dangle or always contradict something else. Do I think the crying child is here based on the post-it room? Yes, absolutely. Is he Gregory? I mean, right now, I think that he's our best option. Is he also patient 46? It seems like he's trying to be, but there are just a lot of holes there. And there are holes in the baby
holes.
theory too. And that honestly just leaves the option of a mysterious third party pulling the strings behind the scenes, which on one hand would be welcome. I'd love to see a new character inserted into this lore. But on the other hand, it also feels unsatisfying because it's like, well, that came out of nowhere. This franchise has never operated like that, so it feels weird for it to start acting that way now. Individually, small pieces of the mystery make sense, but when you take a step back and look at the wider lore of this series, how it connects to other games, how it connects to the wider story arc that's been created, that's when things start to fall apart. And I think that is what is so frustrating with this title. So that's what I'm left with. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you seeing things that I'm not? Hopefully it at least sparked some ideas in your head. And hey, if it did, you can let me know live right now. I am officially live with other members of Team Theorist, other FNAF tubers, all of us covering things about this game. My hot takes on the Security Breach lore, other theories that we haven't covered yet, and of course, just generally
think I'm ending
chatting
here.
about what we thought of the game.
Thank you guys for watching this video. Interesting. I'm still convinced, Gregory. It's Gregory. You know, a Chica who wants candy. Kids like candy. But I'm just saying, thank you guys for watching this video. I am tired. I just got home. Hopefully join us, you guys, in the next one. And peace, everybody. Goodbye. Stay tuned because I'm gonna try Wendy's Frosty. I don't know what to call Wendy's Frosty cereal. I have it in the background. Right over there. Right over. No, wait, hold on. Right over there. I don't know if you can see it, but can you see it? It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. Okay, whatever. Peace, everybody. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye. This was awesome. This was cool.